Welcome back, guys. Sharpen Your Sword podcast, episode 53, Lies Young People Believe. Okay, guys, this is a very important topic, a very powerful topic that the co-host, the number one co-host in the world, Giovanni Jimenez, brought up to this morning. We're game planning and for the podcast, and he brought up this very powerful thing, and I said, that's the one. Let's go after it, okay? And it's because this is... if you ask me, this is the downfall of our youth, part of the downfall of our society, okay? The downfall in many ways. Why? Because our youth is struggling beyond measure, and I don't know if we have a better insight on this because we are coaches and we meet thousands of people a year, okay? And we talk, and they tell us their problems, and they give us their mindset. So we know the mindset of a lot of people. We recognize patterns. We recognize mental patterns. We recognize spiritual patterns. We recognize so many different things, okay? And the average person, before I'm was a coach before, I didn't necessarily pick up to this extent, right? Gio and I always talk about this. And he would ask me about somebody, and I would tell him 1, 2, 3. And he's like, well, how do you know? Like, man, I've seen this one too many times. Right? And so these patterns, you pick up on them. One of the biggest patterns that we pick up on is our youth, the things that they say. And they all say the same thing, right? It's almost like a broken record, you know? It's the same thing over and over again. And why? It's because they hear the same thing from the people around them, from their friends, from their family, from society, from politics, from social media, from everything around them. They pick up the same thing. They cannot break the matrix, quote unquote, the matrix, right?
Yeah.
They can't get out of the system. They can't break the norm. They fall to the same trap that every single other young person falls to, okay? And these are lies, okay? And these lies are made to comfort you. These lies are made to make you feel good, okay? And these lies are lies. It's like a false, what would you call it? Like a false flag, or it's false hope that you're gonna see success or you're gonna get what you want. But the truth is you're not, okay? These are lies that are told to you, and these are lies that you believed to make yourself feel comfortable and make yourself feel able that one day you will achieve X, Y, Z. But you don't ever recognize that they're only lies, and your mind has believed them. Your brain has believed them. And so you go through life, and as you get older, you start kind of questioning things. As you get older, you start realizing things. As you get older, you start wondering, why do I not have this? Or why do I not achieve this? And then you start thinking, well, so-and-so told me this. Or that person told me this, or social media said this. And then you put 2 and 2 together, and you realize it was all a pile of crap. You know? And then this is where the problems occur. Why? Because you went through life thinking that you have time, thinking that chasing your passion was the right thing, thinking all these things that you were told were the right thing, and then you realize that you wasted all this time, that you're not happy, that you have no fulfillment, that you have no passion, that you didn't work hard. And as a human being, if you don't work hard, then you feel worthless at the end of the day. Nobody wants to say that. But as humans, we're meant to work. We're supposed to get after things, okay? And this happens later on at a later age when you grow up, okay? And then you're sitting there wondering, what the hell did I do with my last 10, 15, 20 years?
Yeah. That's one of the biggest things we see at the academy. It's like, and you see it most as a coach. 'Cause people will talk to you like, I coach kids, right? And what's crazy is the most motivated, the most inspired people are kids, right? Those are the people, because they haven't developed self-limiting beliefs, right? Which is what happens when you come out into the real world.
Yep.
Right? It's like I came out to the real world like kid out of high school, all these hopes and dreams, right? And then if you don't got a straight path, you don't know where you're going, and you don't know where you're going. And even then, the challenges of life, they'll crush you. And if you don't check yourself, right? Like I said, you got to check yourself before you wreck yourself. If you don't check yourself and your beliefs, like it'll wreck you. It'll have you having these limited beliefs, thinking that it's not meant for you, or thinking that you don't have what it takes, or thinking that it's based on luck, or that by some miraculous way, I'm gonna land a couple million. I'm gonna land in my lap, and it's just never gonna happen, right? But and you see him most as a coach. He was like, but what's crazy is it sounds cheesy, right? But like, nah, nobody's saying like those limiting beliefs. Like people don't actually say that, right? Like that. Oh, other people are better, or I don't got what it takes, or I'm not good enough, coach, or I can't, right? But how common is that?
It's common on a daily basis, and that's I told you a couple weeks ago. Like, man, one thing I realized like how tough you have to be as a coach because people just drop their bombs on you. They just drop so much crap on you, and you're like, okay, what do I do now? It's not. I guess this is a bad joke, right? But but what did I tell you the other day? Like, man, so many people have what they call trauma. I don't like to use the word trauma. Okay, me personally, I don't like to use the word trauma. But I told you the other day because I will tell you why. If you want to ask me, I'll tell you why. You didn't ask me, but I'm gonna tell you anyway. Is people use trauma as an excuse. Let me tell you something. Everybody has fought some kind of battle one way. Somebody have went through something crazy. We understand that, guys. But these days, it's almost like a crutch. Like me, hate me, upset, whatever it is, this is truth, whether you like it or not, okay? But this is a bad joke. It made me laugh, though. I was like, dude, I told Gio, I was like, bro, these people that have so much trauma keep dropping this trauma on me. I'm traumatized now. Remember I told you this last week?
Yeah.
And I said that because how much things I hear. Every day I hear something. Every day, right? And the average person is not going to hear these things because they're not a therapist. They're not a coach, right? They don't have these relationships with a lot of people. And so when you say how common is this is a common thing. Somebody told me something as in, I'm not ready. This is one of the lies that we're going to talk about. I'm not ready. And just the last week, I've heard I'm not ready from grown men that are 40 plus with the wife, with the kids, career and everything, over 10 times. Over 10 times. I'm not ready. You will hear this on a daily basis if you speak to enough people. I am not ready.
Yeah.
You know? So these things are unseen, and people don't know how much people are truly struggling and why they're truly struggling. And this is the whole purpose of the podcast, is not to kick people down, but to bring awareness to this and shed light on these things so people can have a light bulb go off and be like, man, I've fell to these lies. I say the same things, right? And that's why when you brought up this topic, I said, let's just do it. Like, you didn't even have to give me details. This is something that we deal with every day. This is something that we have experience and knowledge on for many years, right? I've been coaching for almost 11 years now, coaching, right? And the last 11 years, I learned a lot of crap. I've seen a lot of crap. I've seen a lot of people's mind, like entered their mind. You know, that's why I've become obsessed with it. And the truth is, I hate to say it, right? Smart people, what do they say? Smart people learn from their mistakes, and wise people learn from the mistakes of others.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so seeing people make these mistakes, I learned from them. I picked up these habits. Specifically men, specifically, you know, everybody, you know, specifically men and youth. The mistakes that men make, and whether he's a strong man or a weak man, okay, he did this, that's why he's a weak man, or this is why he's a strong man because he does that. And the traps and the stuff, temptations of this world that the youth fall to, right? And you learn this as a coach. You pick this up as a coach because they're told to you, or you pick up the patterns and you see them firsthand. And so going back to your question, we see this on a daily basis. These are daily basis.
Yeah, it is true, especially this I'm not ready one. Like, so many people come to academy, they want to train jiu-jitsu, right? And then they see that they're not in fighting shape. They're like, oh, well, I'm like, you ready to join, bro? You ready to get better? Like, you ready to start sharpening the sword and living a new life? And they're like, well, actually, like, I need to go to the gym first. I need to get in shape first before I do this. And they're like, bro, this is gonna get you in shape. Like, you don't need to go to the gym. This is what you need. You know this is what you need, but you think you don't have the tools to get the job done. Like, you don't think there's something missing. And the only thing that's missing is for you to take that step forward, to take that leap forward. That's the only thing that's missing. That's the only piece that's missing. But people think like, I need to have this. I need to have this course. I need to have this book. I need to have this amount of money. I need to have, now granted, obviously you need preparation, right? But it comes to a point where it's, damn, it's too much preparation. Like, what you need to learn, you'll learn it on the way there. You know? Not from getting ready for it.
Right.
And so that is far too common. But one thing I want to add about this is like a lot of this is lies young people believe. Some of these are told, and some of these are things that happen to them in life, and they slowly internalize them and believe them, whether they realize it or not. People have these self-limiting beliefs, whether they realize it or not, and that's when they become dangerous. When it becomes a subconscious thing. Mm-hmm. When your subconscious by itself will deter you from being better. Like that, like people like that, their subconscious is always making them think that they're not ready, they're not good enough, that they don't got what it takes, that they're still lacking something. Like, and sometimes, and a lot of men, for example, like a lot of men, they won't date women, or they can't date women because they feel like they lack something. Oh, I don't have money. How are girls gonna like me if I don't got money? Mm-hmm. Or I don't got a car. Or I don't got I'm not built. Or whatever it takes, right? But then you see dudes look like a troll and they're getting women, right? But that's just an example of thinking that that's a limiting belief, that you don't have there's something missing in you. And you're not ready. I just need to get it before I can start going after my life and living my passion, living my dreams, you know? But another one is if it's hard, it isn't meant to be. What do you think about that one? This is ridiculous. This like kind of pisses you off just hearing that.
Yeah. So multiple things, right? The one that you talked about, I want to go back to the I'm not ready one, is the one that you talked about when the conscious takes over. This is the problem. Now, you asked me why this happens. From the beginning of the episode, I said we're meant to do hard things. We live in an easy world. If you live in the United States of America, I don't care what your situation is, right? We live in an easy world, guys. Look around the world. Look what's going on. There's people that can't. I always bring this up. There's people in Palestine that kids are eating grass, literally grass clippings. They were eating pigeon food, right? This is not just in Palestine. This is South America. This is in Central America. This is in Africa. There's so many places, even in some places in America, okay? But for the most part, if you're in America, you got an easy life. And because we have an easy life, we are not, I'm going to say we, I'm talking about society, not us. But we are not built. We are not strong. We are not using the mind to its fullest potential, right? Because we have been sheltered. We have an easy life. We don't have to go after and use our mind and to be put through hardships and to be hunting and scavenging over miles and then carry whatever you get miles back home. You're not physically or mentally straining yourself or testing or pushing yourself. And so if you don't push your mind, if you don't sharpen your sword mentally, your mind will have control over you. I always tell you guys this, as my jiu-jitsu students and my competitors. Don't let the mind have a grasp on you. You need to have a grasp on your mind. The majority of the world, the mind has a grasp on them. And this is why they fall. This is why they slip. This is why their conscience is taking over and making them believe these lies. And they truly believe it. It's not a lie to them. This is their belief. This is part of their core belief, core values. Okay? And this is where you wake up years later, over time, and you don't see progress or you don't see happiness or fulfillment. Okay? When you don't have fulfillment as a human, you'll eventually wake up. Eventually. Right? We talked about this before. And then you realize, what the hell did I do? Yeah. And you realize that your mind had played games on you. Now, some people get to 50, 60 before that happens. Some people get to 25, 30, 35, 40. Now, what we're seeing now is we're seeing more and more at a higher age, not a lower age. And so the teenagers, to me, they're like zombies. People up to the 30, 35 are like zombies. They're just going through life. Episode 51, maybe, or 49, surviving life and living life. Okay, most people are just surviving. And so this goes back to this thing. I'm not ready. And they say this their whole life. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. And I told the guy this yesterday. You heard me tell him. Well, you're never going to be ready. I tell this on a weekly basis, if not a daily basis, to the people around me. You will never be ready. Mm-hmm. I am not ready. You're going to keep saying this over and over again until years pass. I've always given this example for competition. I've had one guy come up to me. He's 20-something years old. Coach, I'm going to compete at a local tournament. It's coming up. It was about 6 weeks away, 3-4 weeks away from the tournament. I asked him again. Nope. I'm like, why? I'm not ready. Bro, you were just motivated 3 weeks ago. Okay, fast forward. 6 months, another tournament. I'm not ready, coach. Fast forward. 6 months, I'm not ready. Fast forward. 2 years later, I'm not ready. Bro, I'm telling you, you need to listen to me. You will never be ready. This is everything in life, in business, in your any endeavor that you're after. Okay? This will be the mind is there to protect you from hardships, from outside stimulus that is hard. That's gonna make you work. That's gonna make you think. That's what the mind is there for. That's what the conscience is there for. I'm not ready is one of the biggest lies that you will ever hear and believe ever. Let me tell you something. I'm not ready. You know what? You are right. You will never be ready. You will never be ready until you take the first step. I don't give a damn what it is. You will never be ready unless you take that first step. And when you take that first step, you're going to realize, man, it's not that bad. You take the second step, third step, fourth step, fifth step. Is it hard? Yeah. But you're going to realize all I had to do was go for it. Then your mind shifts from protecting you in a way that it prevents you, and it shifts into a way that is going to still protect you, but it's going to let you think and let you operate so you can perform better and have a better chance of success. That's how the mind works. It's going to protect you in two ways. It's going to protect you in a way that's going to prevent you from doing it, so it won't even allow you to even try. And this is where depression comes. This is where lack of fulfillment and lack of happiness comes from. Or it's going to protect you in a way where you say, hey, you don't control me, I control you. And you start working towards it. And then when you start working towards it, it's going to open up doorways and cabinets and files that are going to allow you, is going to give you access to have a better chance of success. That's how it's going to protect you. People don't understand that's how the mind operates. That's how the mind works. Pick any car that you want today. Give me a car.
A Mustang.
A Mustang. Go drive around all day today and see how many Mustangs you're going to pick up. Why? Because you put it in your mind. The mind is going to start catching it. It's going to look for it. It's like a radar. Okay? And so this is what people have to understand. I'm not ready. This is a BS built-in excuse. You are right. You are not ready. But if you get after, you will be ready. That's the biggest difference, okay? And so as you put one foot in front of the next, that's where your confidence starts building up. And that's where you start realizing that you have to make it work. You have to study. You have to think on it. You have to have action behind it. And the more you do that, the more ready you are. But the whole I'm not ready yet, there's people that are going to go their whole life saying I'm not ready. And I've heard this from 50-year-olds. I heard this from 60-year-olds. I've heard this from older people. I'm not ready, guys, is one of the biggest lies, if not the biggest lie, as humans that we have. And that we believe, unfortunately. We believe it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it is far too common. Very, very common. Whether people will be honest with themselves, some people will say just out loud or say, like, I'm not ready. Other people will just have it in their mind, internalized. They won't say it, but that's the reason, right? They subconsciously think, I'm not ready.
Yeah.
I'm lacking something. Very powerful. Whatchamacallit. But what do you think about that one? That if it's hard, it's not meant to be like people are having setbacks, right? People have setbacks. You'll always have setbacks. And people will take that as a sign, like, you know what? Maybe this is not mine. This is not for me. Like funny story, like you mentioned one time you had a job interview with this one girl, right? And that she had a problem. I think her car wasn't working or she didn't have gas or whatever.
She didn't have gas.
She didn't have gas, and she said, you know what? I'm going to take that as a sign that this job isn't for me, right? What the fudge? You could take that as a sign? Maybe, honestly, that was God bless, right? Thank God she thought like that. You weren't going to have somebody work with you like that, right? But not just because it's hard means like this is a sign. I should stop. But if you're gonna go to the grocery store, there's stop signs, and there's red lights. Oh, this is a sign I shouldn't go. Like this is a sign you should keep going, right? This is a sign that there's something good here.
Yeah.
Nothing good comes easy.
That's it.
But what do you think about that? That's ridiculous.
If it's hard, it's not meant to be, and that's what everybody says. If it's hard, it's not meant to be. Or if it's hard, I shouldn't do it. Or that's the reason why I shouldn't do it, right? This is because you're soft. This is because you're weak. This is because you're pathetic. Okay? This is just truth. Okay? Hard things is what makes us. And the lack of hard things that I talked about, like in other countries, makes, okay? People are not going to like this. We always talk about men, right? We lack men in this country. We have males, but we lack men in this country. Go to other countries. Go to other countries. I don't want to talk about the Middle East because we know what's going on in the Middle East right now, okay? But go to other countries, poverty-stricken countries where they have to work from 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 years old. Go see them, okay? And so, because we lack this hardships, we lack men, okay? Because we lack this hardships, we lack the ability to do hard things because we're not used to it. Anything that we see as hard, it's a sign that we need to stay away from it. Why? It's because you've never experienced that. You've never experienced hardship. You tell somebody right now, somebody can come into a jiu-jitsu class, okay? Let's say my easy jiu-jitsu class, or easier jiu-jitsu class. And it's a 24-year-old young man, 25-year-old young man. And I told somebody this yesterday, and Gio heard me. And he's like, man, I'm not in shape, and so forth. And I said, bro, you're a young man. You have no excuse to be soft. You have no excuse to be out of shape. Like, you need to do these hard things. Okay? You have to do these hard things because otherwise you're not going to get better. Right? And people see hard things as a stop sign these days. It's because they lack them. For many reasons. Because their parents love them so much, for the most part. If they have their parents, right, to give them all these things for them, raising them up, giving them, providing everything for them, which as a parent, that's what you do. But some people do it excessively. Okay? All you're doing is ruining that person. Especially if it's a man.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a boy, right? You're trying to make him a man. You can't give him everything to make it easy. So this is something that we see for all the young folks. Okay? Like, I see some kids driving in a brand new 2025 Mercedes. And this 15, 16-year-old kid. He didn't buy that car. He has not even had a summer job yet. And you gave him a Mercedes. Or you gave him these vacations. I've heard these kids that go to these vacations and whatnot. Or they got an allowance. And I'm like, bro, at 15 years old, my ass was sitting outside on the street selling shoes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Now to play the devil's advocate, what if somebody says like, well, why can't I give my child a better life than I had?
You can, but you have to do it in a controlled manner to a certain extent. You can give them a better life temporarily when they're young, but this is gonna bite you in the ass and then bite them in the ass as they grow up because they're not going to grow up. How many people have not grown up yet and they're 30, 35 years old? or they run into a hardship of not knowing how to pay a bill or coming up with finances to pay bills or to generate income or to even work 40 hours a week. Where did all of this come from? It came from things like that. I'm not saying don't give your child a great life. That's your child, of course. But I'm saying don't give them everything. Don't make it super easy, okay? And with society, with technology, with the life that we have in America, everything is easy for the most part, okay? And because everything is easy for the most part, people can't do hard things. So anytime they run into something that's hard, that's their sign, okay? That's your sign to not do it. Hey, it's a sign that it's not meant to be.
Yeah.
Okay?
100%. So the counter to that is you got to sharpen that sword. You feel me? That's a sharper sword. But what is one thing people, the listeners, can do today to counter that?
One thing that you guys can do, I mean, you already said it, is sharpen your sword. But sharpen your sword, guys, this is a lifestyle. This is not like an exercise that you do for one day, okay? This is a lifestyle. And when you talk about sharpen your sword, it checks off every box. I told Gio this other day, we were having a meeting. And I said, Gio, if you live this lifestyle to its fullest of sharpening your sword, this would check off boxes in every topic, every subject that you talk about. Okay? Because the secret to life is to be a sharp sword. Okay? When you are a sharp sword, you've been forged. Life has forged you. Hardships have forged you. Trials and tribulations have forged you. Failures have forged you. Right? You've been tested. What is sharpen your sword? What is the human? What is the male? I like to talk about men, okay? Because we need this. We need strong men. Because strong men would change our country. This is what I believe. Of course, strong women will help, of course. But strong men, they're the ones that are going to lead from the front, okay? What is a strong man? A strong man is like a sharp sword. Strong man. Not a man, a strong man. A real man, a good man, okay? Is like a sharp sword, not a dull butter knife, okay? What is a strong man? What is a sword? How did the sword start? A sword started as a raw material, raw steel. Nothing to it, just steel. How did a man start? A man started as a baby, as a boy. Started as a fetus that you can't even see, right? What do they say in scripture? Like a small seed, right? Like in the Quran it says a small seed, right? Started as a small seed, okay, becomes a boy. The boy is the raw material, is the raw steel. Now, over life, this boy grows up. He grows up into a teenager, into a young man. Okay? The sword is raw steel. You take this raw steel, you cut a piece of it off. Okay? You take the raw steel, you cut a piece of it off. Now you start putting it into the fire. This is where you're putting it into the fire. This is the teenage years. You're starting to grow up. You're starting to see life. You're starting to endure some things. Maybe your parents are making you mow the lawn. Maybe your parents are making you get a summer job. You're starting to go through hardships. The steel is going through hardships in the fire. You take it out of the fire and you start beating it. And you start forging it. You start sharpening it. And you do this repeatedly over and over again.
Yeah.
Okay, and then it eventually becomes a sharp sword that you can cut and kill with. Okay? And this boy, let's just say a guy, he didn't come from the wealthiest family. He didn't come from privilege, okay? This boy became a teenager and had to start mowing the lawn and had to get a summer job and had to get an after-school job and had to help the family pay the bills and had to do all this. And in the process, he's becoming stronger and stronger, and he's picking up life lessons. He's picking up values of a man. He's picking up morals of a man, a character of a man, okay? And he does this for years on end, okay? And he doesn't fall to the temptations of this earth. But he went through the hardship. The steel had to go through the hardship to become the sword. The boy has to go through the hardship to become the man. And so this is a process, this is a process that you cannot skip. You cannot become a man without going through hardships.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing that's especially in today's days, like online about like the topics about men and stuff, right? Budgeting. A lot of these guys think like it's you reading certain books, you acting a certain way, right? Like you peacocking, right? Like that's a budget man, or you budgeting like you talk cocky, right? You're brash, right? You got a big ego. You show you got a big ego, right? And like that's like, bro, that don't mean you're a man.
You soft as tissue paper.
Exactly. Like, that's like you trying to prove that you're a man. Like, bro, if you gotta prove your masculinity, or like trying to get reassurance about your masculinity, like you're probably not masculine if you're trying to prove that you're masculine, or a certain appearance like tattoos and I get a beard,
Muscles.
right? Muscle. Like, that don't mean shit, bro. You know, or you shake somebody's hand and then you squeeze the hell out of the hand. Right?
Oh, I hate that one.
And there's one like, yeah, there's a statistic, right? Like, oh, men's handshakes have like, they do have less pressure nowadays than back then, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, bro, so let's say you take that into because you see it, right? From experience. You see the guys, they'll shake their hand and they'll like squeeze the hell out of it, but they're soft as hell. Like, bro, you'll quit in like 1 minute of jiu-jitsu. So how does just a strong handshake make you strong? Or how does peacocking? That doesn't make you strong.
Yeah.
Right?
I want to add this to this is let me say this. This is gonna be harsh, okay? This is like my standard. This is a must-have, right? If you can't check this box, you can't be strong. Me personally. Now, a lot of people are not going to like this. If you can't fight, you can forget about it. If your body doesn't show that you're strong, okay, and then you can fight, you can forget about it. You have to be sharp. You have to have a solid body. You have to be strong, and you have to know how to fight, and you need to know how to shoot a gun or fight with a sword. Back in the day, right? This is extreme these days, but this is part of your duty. Okay? Back then, if you couldn't throw a spear or if you couldn't shoot a gun, you can't eat. That's how you hunted. That's how you provided food. Okay? And so we don't necessarily have to do that no more. But if you can't do that, okay, you can't defend your family because everybody got a gun these days. It doesn't matter gun control or not gun control. This has nothing to do with who has a gun or not, right? You can't shoot a gun. You can't defend your family. You're not strong. For me, a strong man, you have to be capable. You have to be capable of hurting somebody. Okay? You have to know how to fight. These strong handshakes, and like some guy did it to me last week, and I told you about it, or a couple weeks ago. He shook my hand, and he squeezed it. I'm like, bro, really? Right? And because we've been talking about it. Gio and I talk about people's handshakes. And then another young guy came into the gym and wanted to fight and everything. Like, hey, I'm going to be a fighter and whatnot. And when he squeezed my hand, I don't know if he was trying to prove a point that he's strong to me, but he squeezed the hell out of my hand. And I believe I have a good handshake, right? He squeezed it like, when somebody squeezes your hand and then you feel a little extra oomph, like I guess got threatened by your handshake and now they're squeezing yours. And so he did that. And he's a young guy, big as hell. And when it came time to roll, he was like a little baby. So that's why I say, like, okay, you're physically built. And good job, you got a strong handshake. And maybe you have the right morals and right character, but you lack something. Now, this is a high standard. People don't like it. But if you can't fight, I don't want to be mean and say if you're not a black belt, right? Like, I'm not going to say that. But if you can't fight, which means you have to be a jiu-jitsu purple belt, minimum jiu-jitsu purple belt. Okay, minimum jiu-jitsu purple belt. Okay, then you're not strong. And so why do I say that? Because it's hard. Fighting is hard. Knowing how to fight, putting yourself through that process of picking up the skill of defense for yourself, for your family, for your country, for, forging your body through through, heat and pressure and lifting weights, all of that is hard. So that's why I put this as a requirement. But most guys can't beat it. Some guys tell me like, well, I don't have to know how to fight to be strong. I don't have to know how to shoot a gun to be strong. I don't have to have muscles to be strong. Why do they say that? Because it's hard to do that stuff. If you look at pictures back in the day, how many obese people you see in that picture?
Not many.
Not many. Why? Because they work with their hands. They're walking, they're working, physical labor, whether it's farming or construction. We don't see that. Why? Because it's hard. I was talking to a grown man. I haven't been consistent lifting weights. It's just been hard. It's been hard. That's something he kept repeating. But yeah, I know it's hard. But it pays off. It shows in your physical appearance. It shows in your mental appearance, your mental health. Okay? So the truth, the lie, if it's hard, it's not meant to be, is BS.
Yeah.
You need to go after the things that are hard. Okay? If you want something to meant to be, not meant to be, but if you want it to be met, you have to go through the hardships for it to mean something. So you need to flip the way you see that. If you want it to mean something, you have to go through the hard.
100%. And like some guys, they'll talk tough, right? But people that talk tough, that only scares like low-level motherfuckers, right? One time I heard this, like these guys were like at a basketball court, right? And it was like that dude that always want to fight at the basketball court.
There's always one, always.
He was like, and he starts like talking tough, like he gonna fight. He was like, bro, that only budget scares low-level guys that they can't fight, right? Like in a video game, you can only beat the low-level guys with that technique. Like real people that fight, and then there's someone that wants to fight. He's like, no, bro, I ain't talking to you, bro. Like I'm talking to this guy. Yeah. And then words are cheap. Everybody can talk. Like there was one guy I know at the gym, right? And he talks so much, but in the gym he couldn't stay consistent. You know the guy he works with, what you call it? Always talk so much, right? And budgeting.
We can limit that to a few people.
And then if you hear this guy, you think this motherfucker's gonna whoop somebody's ass. But contrary, right? But outside of that, it's funny. So the guys that talk the most, they're all bark, no bite. But another one that's big, another big lie, is that success means being seen. I mean, like there's especially today's age, there's this obsession with like having followers, having status, visibility. Like, imagine like people gotta know you, people gotta dap you up, you gotta be famous, and that equates success. Like if you're not that, then you're not successful. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like when you're successful, that means that there's like this big, like, no, I've met a lot of successful people. They're regular guys. They dress regular. They talk normal. They look normal. Some of the most successful people, you wouldn't even know they're successful because they're just normal. It's not this huge thing and red carpet and everybody knows them. Again, success is everybody's own different definition. Yeah. But being famous doesn't equate success.
So the problem with this is, I think what killed it is social media. Okay? Because success became like a fad. Like it's just, success is cool, don't get me wrong. But success became like this cool thing that they created for, again, this is what I believe, for the youth to feel empowered and for the youth to kind of want it because of social media, because they're going to get likes. Okay? If a young man is successful, what is he doing?
Making money.
He making money. He posting up at every restaurant. He posting up in his new Mustang or whatever sports car he got.
Flexing.
He's flexing on it in social media. And let's just say he's being a player. All right? Like, that's why most young guys want success. They want to be They want to be seen. Why do they want to be seen? Because they're this big. That's why. And I'm talking about youth, right? I'm not talking about the big entrepreneurs, the grown men, strong men, right? Strong men don't need success to feel something, to feel whole. Strong men don't need a pat on the back. Strong men don't need validation. Strong men don't need to be seen. People don't have to know I'm successful for me to feel good about myself, to have fulfillment. Whether you think I'm successful or not, it doesn't matter to me. I don't need validation from other people. Successful, real successful men, strong men I'm talking about, don't need to be seen. Okay? And so the ones that are successful, you notice, like you said, are normal average Joes. But these are strong guys. They're confident in their abilities. They're confident in themselves. Now, the young folks think you have to be seen. It's part of success. It's because they want to be seen. What did you tell me yesterday? I was talking to somebody, and you're like, man, I guess this person wants to be seen. You told me this yesterday afternoon.
Yeah.
He wants to be heard. He wants to be visible, right? And this is the majority of our world. And so because of that, most young guys are going to peacock. Most young guys are going to do things, even girls are going to do things to get attention. Okay? For young guys, they might post up at a steakhouse every weekend. You see them on social media post on their story at this fancy steakhouse. Well, you're going to think, man, this guy got money. This guy is successful. He got a brand new Mercedes or a sports car, convertible, whatever it is. Wearing nice stuff, always flexing with a new watch, always posting up on a different vacation, right? Like, dude, he's posting up. He's getting likes. I'm sure he's going back and forth with some girls. You know what I'm saying? But that's his way of being successful. Yeah. Because his Instagram likes are going up. His Instagram story likes are going up. His followers are going up. That's success to him. To the girl, maybe she posts a picture of showing her body.
Yeah.
And that's her way of being successful because she's seen by the hundreds of people that watch her stories or thousands and liked her or how much money they sent her. You know what I mean? And so people think that success, that you have to be seen or success has to be shown. It's something visible. Success is different in everybody's terms. I know some people that have nothing, and I honestly respect them the most. I know some people that have nothing, poor. But these are some of the most successful people. It doesn't make sense, right? Because success doesn't mean money or material. Maybe they were just successful in their morals, their character. And I have so much respect for that, right? And that's something that you can't see. If you're the average Joe, you can't see that, right? And so we have a problem these days, and I'm saying we as the young generation, is that they have to be seen. They have to have all the likes. They have to have all the followers. They have to have the crowd around them. That means success, okay? And the truth is, I think the more successful you become, the more you don't want to be seen. You want to be alone. You want to be freaking in the mountain by yourself and away from everybody, right? And people don't understand that. People also don't understand success is built where nobody can see it, not necessarily in front. Now, success is built in the darkness, but revealed in the light, right? People think that, you open a business and it's successful and everybody sees the success. No, the success happens behind the scenes when nobody's watching, but it's revealed in front of everybody, right? Because they see it. They see the outcome, but they didn't see everything else, the dark days, the hard days, the dark nights, okay? And so we have to change this thing about success.
Yeah.
You don't have to be seen. That doesn't mean being seen doesn't mean you are successful. Some of the people that are least seen are the most successful people. And some of the people that are the most seen are the least successful people.
Yeah, 100%. And that's a big trap young men especially fall for, like buying the shiny stuff, right? Buying the expensive cars. Not buying, but you get a loan on it. You get like a $1,500 car note, which is ridiculous, right? Or you get multiple cars. Like, it was this one guy, right? It was I was listening to the Dave Ramsey show, and he called in he had a problem. So he had three car loans. He had one for him, right, it was a Mercedes. He had one that was a sports car, and his goofy tail, right? He wanted to look so successful. He wanted to look rich. This dude took out a loan for his girlfriend, not his wife. He's paying his girlfriend's car. As she leaves him, he's still going to have to pay his bill.
He's a bum.
Right? And then he has a loan he took out on a boat, too. Right? I guess he was making good money he was like a car salesman or whatever. So he was making probably some good commission. But he started spending it all. And at this point, out spending his lifestyle. His lifestyle is too big for him, and he's got like 4 kids, so he can't afford child support too. And it was ridiculous, bro. But this all comes back to wanting to be seen, right? Needing validation from other people. Like, if other people can do what? They're gonna be like, yeah, that motherfucker cool. Yeah. Or just to praise you, damn, man, that's awesome, bro. What else? Like, how's that gonna get you close to? If you need people for validation, you're very far from success. You know, it's like one of the biggest steps of success you see is in people that don't care what other people think, right? And that's when you become like very dangerous to the system, right? To the matrix that wants to keep you weak. Because now you're not a slave to people's opinions. Now you're not a slave to what they got to say. And you can be free to do what you want and to get after what you want, right? So that's a big trap that young men fall for. It's like I see a lot of guys like, I don't watch social media too much, just for like the news, right? Goofy dog videos. But like, I'll see guys from my high school, like they're posting up and like, Virgin, you think they're rich as hell. But you run into them and they're like working at Home Depot. I'm like, what the fudge, bro? Like, Virgin, you think you a baller on social media, right? It is not talking about nobody, right? But it's like your priorities are skewed. Maybe you can spend all that money and invest in yourself or invest in something that your money can grow instead of wanting to appear rich. Mm-hmm. But you're fudging, we're still in the rat race, right? Yeah. Still stuck having to work and not being fulfilled for what you want to do. So it's all bullshit, you know? Who cares what people got to say? Like fudging, Jeff Bezos drove a cheap car, and he was worth like $30 million at the time. Still had like the ugliest car in his organization. But his two priorities: building a company, scaling it up, not looking good in front of all his coworkers. You know, my uncle, he had one of the ugliest trucks in the construction scene, right? But he was one of the, God bless him, he's one of the guys making one of the best livings. Yeah. But if you looked at his truck, you'd think he's fucking dirt broke. But priorities, you know? But another one, this is a big one. There's a very big lie too. It's once I find my purpose, everything will make sense. And this is related to also, when I land that job, I'm gonna start working hard. Or I'm working at fucking Starbucks, I'm working at McDonald's. Like, why am I gonna work hard? When I get the job I want, I'll start working hard. When I'm where I wanna be in life, I'm gonna start working hard. But you're never gonna get to where you'll be in life because you're not working hard. Like, you think you need to have this to start acting like this, right? But you need to start acting like this for you to get to where you want to be. You're not gonna get to where you want to be if you're not acting, if you're not doing what's gonna get you there. And people think that I'm gonna start doing what I need to do when I get there. Well, you're never gonna get there. You're gonna be stuck. You know, you're in one spot. When I get to that mountain, but I'm gonna start hustling. Bro, if you're in the same spot, you're never gonna get there. So you're never gonna act like that. You need to act like that now to get there, right? A bunch of people like I want to become a millionaire. Or fudging, if you're not working like you want to be a millionaire, you're never gonna be a millionaire, right? At least working output. It might take you years, and it will take you years unless you hit the lotto to get there. But you can't wait for the opportunity to be there, or you can't wait. You just can't wait. That's the biggest thing. You can't wait for something to happen for you to do it. You have to do it and make it happen. That's the thing. It's not gonna happen on its own.
The problem is with this one right here is once I find my purpose, everything will make sense, right? You can do this. You can say this about anything, right? The problem with this causes paralysis by overanalysis, right? You're not going to find it if you don't move. You're not going to find your passion or your purpose if you don't move, if you don't put one foot in front of the next. The biggest thing I will always remind folks is that life is short. Don't matter if you live 100 years. We're already at the end of June, halfway into June, past the middle point. We were just talking about New Year, New Me on podcast yesterday. We're over halfway mark of the year. Okay? Yeah. We're going to blink, it's 2026. We're talking about New Year, New Me again. Okay? And so life is going to pass, the days of the past, the years going to pass, and you will die. This is just guaranteed. And so I always tell people, like, this is guaranteed, so why not go for it? Why not just get after it? Why not live the life and not survive the life? Okay? And it's not possible if you don't find your purpose. What is your purpose? Can you live life? Yeah, you can, but are you going to be the happiest if you're not finding your purpose? No, it's going to be hard. Right? We talked about this on the last podcast with Ricky. Okay? A couple of podcasts ago. But you have to have the purpose to help you move forward. But you need to go searching for that purpose. You can't wait for it. Okay? And you can't wait for it and think it's going to come to you. It's not. One thing that I learned in life, nothing comes to you. This is one thing that I did learn. Nothing comes to you. You have to meet it halfway, if not more than halfway. The job, the friendships, the networking, the success, the passion, the purpose, the fulfillment. You have to meet it more than halfway. You have to go to it. You have to go after it. You have to get after it. Okay? And so, if you're waiting to find out your purpose, you're going to keep waiting until you're on your deathbed. And you're going to realize, like, what the hell did I do? And that list is going to be pretty damn long. Okay? And so you can't wait for your purpose. You have to go after it. You have to go searching for it. You have to go look for it. Okay? Is it going to be easy? No. But trust me, when you find your purpose, even though it's hard, and then we'll always probably have some kind of hardship to it, you will live a happy life, a fulfilled life. But until you find that, it's going to be hard. Us, as human beings, we need purpose. What is our purpose? I've told you before, so many people, millions of people have walked and left this earth without leaving any footprints. You have no purpose, you won't leave a footprint. You won't leave a fossil fuel. You know what I mean? You won't leave anything behind. You won't leave your stamp behind. Okay? And so people, you guys have to go search for it, and don't wait until you're 30 or 40 or 50. Okay? You guys that are young, this is your opportunity. If you want to see success, if you want to be happier, if you want to find your passion, your fulfillment, you have to do it from a young age. The whole you have time thing is all BS. The whole enjoy your youth thing is all BS.
Yeah. I remember what you call it. I remember thinking about when I was a young man, I was 18. I remember working at the warehouse. I remember thinking about jiu-jitsu, right? I had already been watching the UFC for like a year at this point. Right? I had gotten back into it when I was like 17. And I was a big UFC fan. And then I thought about training. I used to come a lot to the mall, to the Barnes and Nobles. But many reasons why I went there. But great first date, by the way, Barnes and Nobles. But the reason was I remember seeing the Academy, right? It was like it clicked my interest, right? It was like coming soon. It was like I had seen it and stuff, passed by for a while. And then I thought about it, and then I had seen like other Academy sticker, right? And I looked it up, like, oh, it's jiu-jitsu and stuff. Started researching jiu-jitsu. I remember one day I was working at night because I worked the night shift, and then I looked up the Academy on the website, right? And it was like request more information or whatever. So I'm like, okay, I was trying to look for the price. Like everybody's like, what's the price? What's the price? Right? Like, bro, what you doing, bro? Who cares about the price? You'll spend the money. And other goofy stuff anyway. So I call, right? They got me scheduled, right? I remember being nervous. I remember telling this one guy, one of my friends at the time, he's a cop now, but you're like, you gonna do it, bro? You for real gonna do it? I'm like, I'm gonna do it, bro. I remember thinking. And I remember I requested information. It was like 1 a.m. in the morning. They reach out to me the next day and they give me schedule, whatever, not come in, right? I remember the night before I was like nervous. I'm like, damn, bro, I'm gonna go. Like, am I really gonna go? Then I'm like, yeah, why'd you just go? Who cares, right? I remember I went to Academy, signed up, whatever. And then I remember I got my first tap. And it was on this older guy, right? And he was pissed when I tapped him out. It was an Ezekiel choke from inside the guard. And he was pissed I tapped him out, right? And then I went and bragged to my friend, like, bro, I got my first tab. Like, I tabbed this like 40-year-old. He kept making fun of me. He was like, oh, like, you beating up old man over there? Are you beating up old man? And I was probably, hell yeah, I'm beating up old man, because them old man beating me up. But all that, I never knew what I was getting. I never understood what I was doing. I just knew, like, hey, I want to do it. Let's just do it. F it, right? It's something I want to do. Let's try it. So I tried it, and little did I know, like, I would find my purpose doing that, right? But because I took that leap, you know, like, let's something new. Let's try it. You never know what can happen. Let's do it. And thank God, that was God putting me in a path that I believe I should be in, you know, and that I should have been. And so, that all came from a small decision, right? Talking about a previous podcast, right? Your decisions, how your small decisions. It was a small decision. I clicked on a website, asked for more information, and things spiraled out of there. Now, thank God, like, I work at the academy. I get to coach people. I get to be around great people. And it's changed my whole life, right? But that's because you go find it. You go seek it. Like, that would have never came to my life. Imagine you would have never came to where I was working at. Like, hey, do you want to do jiu-jitsu? You should come train, right? That's not going to happen, right? Now, for some guys, we see people at restaurants, they ask questions, and we tell them, right? But because they ask us questions. You got to find it. It's never going to come to you. That job that you want is not going to come to you, right? That relationship you want is never going to come to you. If you're just crushing all day on somebody, they're never going to know, right? The things that you want to do, they're never going to happen for you if you don't just take that leap and see what will happen out of it. Maybe if you trying cricket, it's not for you. Maybe trying martial arts is not for you. At least you know, hey, that's not for me. Let me look somewhere else. But you never know, right? God bless. That's an example, personal example for me. Like, I did it, and then years later, like, I could say I'm very blessed, and I never thought it would go this far. Mm-hmm. Just clicking that website and clicking a button, you know?
It all takes action, you know? Put one foot in front of the next. That's how you find your purpose. That's how you live life. Most people can't do that because it's hard. That's why. It's not easy. And the fear of rejection, the fear of failure, the fear of this and that, you know, the fear of getting out of the comfort zone. But you would have never found your passion if you kept waiting for it. And no disrespect, right? If you work, I have respect for you, even if you clean toilets, right? But if you didn't do that, you'd probably still be painting or construction. For the most part, you'd probably still do that. Do you think you would have been happy doing that for another 10 years?
Yeah.
You think you would have been?
I don't want to make you say no, but I wouldn't be as happy.
The truth.
I wouldn't find my purpose. I would just want you to be living.
So you wouldn't be happy
doing what I got to do.
You exactly right. That's you said the magic. You'll be surviving, right? I told somebody this yesterday, right? You'll be surviving. I was in Walmart and somebody saw my Sharpen the Sword T-shirt and they were like, "Man, that's a very powerful message." And he's like, I'm guessing it's about mindset or becoming better. I'm like, yeah, self-development. And I said, the problem is most people, the whole point of this is to shed light on sharpening the sword physically, mentally, because most people survive life. They don't live life. And so we want them to be stronger. We want them to be better, right? And so you don't want to say it, but say it. Be confident. Would you be happy doing it? Huh? Would you be happy doing it?
But, no, but I believe I would have found something. But I know. But the reality is, guys, like, if I wouldn't have took that leap of faith, I would not be as happy as I am today. I'll be hating my job, hating my life, you know? Well, I wouldn't say hating my life, thank God for life. But I'll be hating my job and I wouldn't be happy where I'm at. Because I didn't take that step, you know?
Yeah, and that's a lot of respect for saying that, but I told you to say it again. I know you don't want to say it, because it is not good to say that, right? Who wants to say, I would not be happy doing that? First of all, you're making a living. It doesn't matter. Sometimes you got to do it, make a living. Whether you like it or not, that's your form of income. You just do it. Everybody was there. I was there at one point. I didn't like what the hell I was doing. You a damn life. I'm a damn life. I tell you, I like sitting outside, risking my life 10 hours a day, sitting in the heat or the freezing cold trying to make a dollar. I'm a damn lie.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm going to admit that. I did what I had to do. But what you said there is being honest. You were not going to have fulfillment if you kept that role. You're living life. You're alive. Thank God for life, of course. But will you have your passion, your fulfillment? No, you wouldn't. Okay? And so the point of me saying that is most people are going through that. We can speak out of experience now. You know what I mean? Thank God we're doing something that we love. Yeah. Doing our passion. But doing our passion, how much work did it take for us to do our passion? It took a lot of damn work. It took me 15 years to finally end up in my passion. You know what I mean? 15 years of me staying the course, not quitting, keep going for 15 years. Who's willing to put something in for 15 years, you say? And this is 15 years when I was 15, 14. It's about to be 16 years. Since I was 14. It's different when you do it as a grown man. You have a better chance of it. But I did it through my teenage years. I did it through my youth. Okay, you did it through your youth. And that's why I'm talking to the youth right now. Is most of you guys cannot go through it at a young age. You cannot maintain for a year, 2 years, 4 years, let alone 5, 8, 10, 15 years. But that's where it really happens. And if you start early enough, you can get there pretty soon. If you start later in life, you're going to have a hard time, especially once you have a wife and you have a kid and you have a job and you have bills. Because when you start paying bills, it's a different ballgame. Okay? So you can't wait for purpose to come to you. You find your purpose by working. As you work, you find your purpose. Okay? And this is going to lead us to one of the tough ones also. Other people are just built different. What do you think about that?
I think it's straight bullshit. And then like about the purpose, one last thing I want to say about the purpose is like, people be like, they'll hear this video, right? They'll hear the podcast. They'll be like, chase your purpose. They're like, well, what's my purpose, Muhammad? What's my purpose, Gio? Like, what the hell is my purpose? Fudge it, I don't know. Fudge it, I didn't know. Go try something. You'll figure it out. What do you like? Go try it, right? The ultimate fudging thing is turning your hobby into your job, right? Make your hobby your job. Which I told this one guy, right? You're like, how do you get in here, bro? Fudging, I started training, right? I wanted to be cool. I learned it was more to it than being cool. And then luckily, by the grace of God, fudging, I turned my hobby into my job. He was like, man, that's pretty dope, bro. Like, that's awesome. I'm like, yeah, fudging. Now, I don't need him to pat me on the back for me to know that, for me to feel good about that. But it was like you said, you gotta go out there and fudging do something, bro. You'll figure it out. Yeah. You know? And it doesn't have to be no superstar like some like Hollywood type stuff like, oh, playing guitar. Maybe your passion will be being a salesman, selling cars, selling roofs, selling furniture, right? Maybe you have a big niche for that, making videos. A lot of passions are not these big, grandine things that people imagine, these glamorous things, right? Just do it, man. When you get good at it, you're going to start developing some passion for it. When you get good at it. Yeah. Especially if you start making money out of it, right? But you can get more passion out of that. But the thing that people are built different. So this is one thing, right? Yesterday on Twitter, and it was trending, right? Apparently, this guy, 260 IQ guy, smartest guy in the world. He's an Asian, right? Big surprise. But fudging, this Asian guy, right? And that's another bush. You'd be like, oh, Asian people, they're smart. They want to tell you, man, fudging, who cares about these Asians, bro? They just put in hard work. Their parents make them work hard.
What you got against Asian, bro? You saying that? You saying that with passion?
But no, because they always be like, oh, they're fudging like.
They are smart as hell.
They are smart as hell.
Asians and Indians, bro, are smart as hell.
But a lot of that comes down to the parenting.
Yeah.
Right? There's nothing more special than them than anybody else. But aside that, it's hard work. But there's this guy, right? 200 plus IQ Asian guy, right? Saying that he believes in Jesus Christ, right? And that he says that Jesus Christ is the one true God and all this stuff, right? Now I believe in Jesus Christ, right? But they're like using like, oh, if this guy was 200 plus IQ saying it, then that means he's got to be right? That's like they're insinuating. Like, he's 200 IQ and he believes in Jesus. First of all, I'm like, bro, I don't need a 200 IQ guy to believe something for me to believe it. First of all, like, budget, he's 200 IQ, okay? My budget, he can't even budget. He don't even know how to do. He don't even know how to hold side control. Like, what's so special about him, right? Like, bro, what's so 200 IQ? Because he has 200 IQ, I should automatically take his opinion as truth. or his opinion should become my opinion, right? Or people see like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, all these new guys, right? Motivation guys. People see Conor McGregor, the face of the UFC. People see Mayweather, Canelo. Like, there's something different about these people, right? And they're like, the only thing that's different about these people is their action and their mindset. But they all started the same, right? They were all at one point, they weren't strong, right? They weren't where they were at. They weren't as sharp as they were. It was like you said, they were raw iron, and they had to be beaten and burned and forged into who they are. Those people, all those successful people, every single one was forged. Not one of them was made like that. Yeah. They are all forged, built over time. Nobody was born like that, right? And and honestly, I just refuse to believe, like, as a man, like, your ego is like, and I refuse to believe that another guy is just quote unquote better. Mm-hmm. But yeah, if he's better, I mean, it's something, because he's put in more time, or he's working harder at it than me. Yeah, that's what it is. So some people are more intellectually gifted and more physically gifted, but hard work will beat talent when talent doesn't want to work hard. You know?
Yes, sir. I think people are built different. And I'm gonna tell you why I think they're built different. Now, we can make all the excuses that genetics, some people have genetics. This all real stuff, by the way. People have genetics. They're muscular, they're tall, they're perfect build. They have IQ, they're very intelligent. Some people are born this way, right? To me, I don't look at that stuff, whatever. But let's put that stuff to the side. I'm just saying, as a whole, other people are just built different. You are right. They are built different. Not necessarily, let me correct this. They've been created. They have created themselves differently. And so, what do I mean by this? We're all humans. We all wear pants. But these people that you say are built different, yeah, they are built different. You know why? Because they built themselves up from scratch. They were the raw steel, like you said. Okay? These guys have built themselves up. So yeah, they are different. They decided to put in the work. That's why they're different. They decided to put in the work day in and day out. That's why they're different. They have put themselves in a different bracket because of the work they've done. Because of the beliefs they have. Because of the morals they have, the characters they have. The life skills, the mental strength to not fold. The physical strength to keep going. Okay? That's why they're built different. I tell people, I have a conversation with people. Obviously, the ones that know me, I'm a jiu-jitsu black belt. So because I'm a jiu-jitsu black belt, I'll rank everything white to black. White belt is where you start. White belt is just the normal human being that walks into the academy, that wants to train jiu-jitsu. The black belt is the professional, the one that's I don't like to say master, but that has a wealth of experience, wealth of knowledge in that field. There's a wizard in that field. Okay? The man, the white belt is the boy, a strong man. The black belt is a strong man. Okay? And so these guys that are built different, these black belt men, these warriors, right? In the process, they have created themselves. They've built themselves up. They've leveled up. They have ranked up. They have gone through the ranks, through forging themselves like a sword, through life, building a strong body, sharpening the sword physically, building a strong mind, sharpening the sword mentally. And they've gone up the ranks that way. They've gone up the ranks by consistently putting in action, consistently going through hardship, consistently becoming tougher, consistently educating themselves, consistently fighting the urge to cave into this world, to fold to this world. So those men are looked at as something unique. And those men are unique. And I have a lot of respect for those men. Right? But who says that, oh, he's built different? Who says that? The weak, pathetic piece of crap. The person that has not done anything. It's easier for me to say, oh, he's built different. I can come up with a whole lot of excuses. Well, he has generational wealth. He has an inheritance. He got that company from his dad. He got that house and that land and that farmland from his dad or his grandpa. Okay? Who gives a damn? Good job. Does that mean that you can't do it? So you're going to use his success and his ease of life as an excuse, as a crutch of to why you can't do it. You know why? Because it's hard. But you can still do it. I've seen immigrants come over here with nothing besides a shirt that's on their back. I know these people personally. Minus a shirt on their back, fresh off the boat is what we call them. FOBs, right? FOB, fresh off the boat. I've seen them fresh off the boat, and they're millionaires.
He got that immigrant mentality.
You know what I mean? This is just truth. I know these people. Don't speak English. Don't have nothing. They came with the shirt and the pants that they wear. And they are millionaires today in America. He could have come up with any excuse. Well, I'm from Palestine. My parents are broke. We have nothing. We're living under oppression. My uncle got killed. My grandpa got killed. This is why I'm not successful. This American right here, he got that business from his dad. He got this farm from his dad, from his grandpa. He's built different. No, the one that came from fresh off the boat, he's built different. He came with nothing. He put his head down and he went to work every single day. He's leveled up. He went through the ranks. He started as a white belt. He started on the streets with nothing. He went up to blue belt. He went up to purple belt. He went up to brown belt. He went up to black belt. Now they're looking at this guy. They didn't see the dark nights, the hardships. Now they look at this guy that came with nothing besides his shirt as he's built different. You are right. He built himself up differently. That's what I say about that. He sharpened his sword differently.
Yeah.
He actually went through that process. Unlike you. Most boys use that excuse as he's built different as the crutch. This is just nonsense. This is for you young guys watching. Don't fall to that stuff, okay? You're a young man. You're full of piss and vinegar. Hopefully full of testosterone. You know, these days is kind of crazy, but what did I tell you when you're young? You said you're 19, right?
Wow. When I was 19, he told me, he was like, bro, you young, you don't get tired.
This is something that he reminded me of. I forgot I even said it. I said it to the guy yesterday too, by the way. That's what made me remember. But I told Gio when he was 19, when he started training, I said, bro, you're 19 years old. You have no excuse. At 19 years old, I told Gio, how old are you now?
24.
24. God bless. God give you more life and health, right? At 19, I told him, I said, how old are you? 19. You have no excuse to be tired. At your youth, guys, you will never get it back. It doesn't matter how rich, how much money you have, how much success you have. You will never get that 19-year-old back. You will never get that 20-year-old back. You will never get it back. So take full advantage of it. Yeah, you may not be built the way like this strong guy that's a multimillionaire or successful in many ways. Maybe he has a great family, a very successful, a strong family that nothing can break, that he has strong morals and strong values. That might be his success, is that he holds his ground and he stands up against the whole world, even if the whole world turns against him. And people say he's built different. Success is different. But in order for you to be that way, you have to build yourself up. So don't use the excuse that he's built different. He's only built different because he built himself up differently than the average person.
100%. And to me, there's no more badass story than for you to be an average Joe. Build it up and go far. Like, build yourself up. There's nothing more badass. People think like being an average Joe is like a setback, like athletes, right? Oh, I wasn't born budging certain feet, right? I wasn't born with muscle mass. I wasn't born with this intelligence, right? There's not, okay, that's even more of a badass story that you went from an average Joe, right? You went from ordinary to extraordinary, right? Right? You turn tragedy to triumph. To me, there's nothing more badass than that. What's badass about fudging? Now, some people, they can't help it, right? What's badass about fudging? Grandpa picked up the ball. He went running with it, passed it on to the dad, and the dad passed it on to the son, and the son, they passed it on. What about fudging? You create the ball, and you start passing them off fudging on. That's badass. Not carrying it on and going with it. Now, fudging, you could fumble that shit, right?
That's what I was about to say next.
You could fumble it. Mm-hmm. But how about fudging? I made the fudging ball, and I gave it to my family so they can keep running with it. Yeah. Right? That's badass. Fudging, being born into an average family, average home, being an immigrant, coming to this country with nothing, and making it happen, that's badass. You have an opportunity to make a cool ass movie with your life. Right? That's badass. Fucking Rambo. If Rambo was just fucking Rambo, he was born like that. What the fuck is special about that, right? But the motherfucker just became Rambo. I think. I don't know. I've never seen fucking Rambo. But I know Rambo's badass. Right?
You never watched Rambo?
No.
Bro, you gotta watch it.
But that's badass. But like, average guy, if you got the raw iron, bro. Think about it. You're just raw iron. You get to build that fucking sword. Think about what a badass sword is gonna be. You get to build it. Not nobody built it for you. Not nobody built that life for you. You weren't born into money. You built that motherfucker. That's badass. That's a fucking story and a legacy that people want to tell. That your people are proud of.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. You're getting me hyped up.
That's it, man.
That's powerful. Forging that sword, guys, and this is what I was gonna say. You got me hyped up talking about that. Is you know, in the movies, and there's stories of warriors back in the day, like Arab warriors that I know, Khalid ibn Walid, Umar al-Khattab, and stuff like that. Some of the best warriors, okay? And you can read about these everywhere, not just like Arab or these guys I just mentioned. Everywhere, right? But these guys that built themselves up, these warriors that built themselves up, that forged their sword, right? And you see these in movies. It's this guy with that sword and he swings it, right? And when he swings it and he hits another sword, what happens? Gladiator, right? If you watch Gladiator, this happened. And he swings that sword, what happens? He breaks the other sword. Why? Because his sword has been forged just over and over and over again. His sword is not even a normal sword. This guy has a strong sword. But I told you about the ranks. The white belt, the blue belt, the purple belt, the brown belt, the black belt. This guy is a black belt. His sword is a black belt sword. He's going to break that brown belt sword. He's going to break that purple belt sword. Not saying that they're weaker. There is levels. There is ranks in this world amongst men. Amongst men of men. You know what that means? Even amongst the real men, the strong men, there is still levels and ranks amongst those men. Amongst real strong men. Okay? And so you have to understand this. This is part of the world. This is part of life. You have to create yourself. You have to build yourself up. You have to forge your sword. You have to be in the fire. You have to be under the pressure. You have to be under the hammer. Okay? Over years of your life for you to become something. This is the way. This is life. This is the way of life. Okay? And so these guys that are built different, yes, they're built different because the way they've built themselves up. That's why. Okay? And so for you young men, you guys have opportunity to build yourself up, to be better for yourself, for your family, for your community, and for your country. But it can't be possible if you don't build yourself up, if you don't sharpen your sword. This is the power of sharpening the sword, guys. Okay? And so if you fall to these lies that we've spoken on, that we've talked about, you're going to waste many years of your life. Gone, wasted. So many guys that I talk to, so many men that I speak to. Okay? And we don't want to dwell on the past. That causes depression. Okay? But they've wasted their life. How many years? You told me the other day, like you wasted, right? God bless you. You've done a lot. But you said, I wasted this many years. And I've said it to you too before, right? Is I've wasted it. What are we going to do about it? Nothing. But this is the whole point of this episode. Why are we talking about this? Why do we have this podcast? It's so you don't say I've wasted this many years. Because I promise you guys, I promise you, you will wake up one day and regret the last 5-10 years that just flew by. And you have nothing to account for. If you're 25 and you're 30, look at the last 5 years. Look at the last 10 years. Part of it that you've wasted is because of the lies that we just talked about. That's why. Those are the reasons. Okay? And so you have to change this. You have to do something about it. It's not easy. It's extremely hard. But it will pay off. And by the time you get to the end of your life, which is not going to be a long time, guys. Right? Like people think I'm negative. I say it's not going to be a long time because it's guaranteed. This is guaranteed. We are going to make our expiration date. We are going to make it to the grave. One way or another, you will end up 6 feet below the ground. And so what do you do in this time period? What do? Do you survive life or do you live life? Okay? And if you fall to these lies, you won't live your life. You won't be able to get your family a life. Okay? This is just true. Don't listen to the nonsense around you. Don't listen to the bull crap around you. Don't listen to the lies from the people around you. Most of those people are lying to you because they are weak and they don't have the capabilities and they're not competent enough to achieve their life. That's why. They fell to those lies and they're just passing it to you, and you're going to pass it to the next generation. Okay? And so you need to change that. Okay? You need to replace all of this incompetence with competence. You need to replace all of this I'm not able to I am able to, that I can't to I can, to I will. I'm not built this way, but I will be built this way. I'm not a sharp sword, but I will be a sharp sword. You need to change all of this. Okay? And this is the whole purpose of this podcast, of this episode. All right? Gio, want to add anything?
One of the biggest things I learned at the academy is you go from I'm tired to I don't get tired. And when you translate that over into all your areas of life, man, you go a long way, and you'll show yourself and you will surprise yourself how far you can push yourself and how far your body can go.
Powerful, Gio. And we're going to wrap it up there, guys. Don't believe in the lies. I want you to think about something that's been holding you back, okay? And rewording it, rephrasing it, replacing it, okay? To what you can do better to change that. What's holding you back, okay? Whatever excuse you have, whatever lie you believe, okay? Anything that we've spoken on, whether it's I'm not ready, if it's hard, it's not meant to be, or if success is meant to be seen, or once I find my purpose, everything is gonna be okay. Okay, that's all bullshit. Okay, you have to come up with it. You have to go find it, and you could only find it when you are capable. And you're only capable if you're strong, if you are sharp. If you are not sharp, you are not capable, guys. I don't know how many times I have to tell you guys this. If you are not sharp, you can't do it. Bottom line. If you are not a sharp sword, you cannot do it. Bottom line, okay, guys? And so go on this journey of sharpening your sword, physically and mentally. Have a strong body. Be sharp. Be a sharp sword. Be ready for battle, right? And the battle is not going to war, okay? Going to battle is just the life that we go against every day. Mentally, be healthy, be strong. Sharpen the sword mentally, okay? And this is going to create your life. This is going to make you be built different. This is going to make you be the one that people look at you and say, that guy is built different. That's what you want to hear. You're only built different because of the life that you've built, the struggles that you went through, the way you've been forced through life. Unfortunately, most of the population doesn't get to be forced. They don't get to go under that pressure. They don't be under that heat. Okay? And I had one student, he was afraid of competition. He told me, he said, I just get sick to my stomach. He's a kid. He said, Coach, I just don't want to compete. I get sick to my stomach. It's because there's so much pressure, so much nerves. It overwhelms me. And I asked him, I said, how do you think diamonds are made? And this kid is intelligent. And he told me the process. He said, you take charcoal and you put under a lot of pressure. You put under a lot of stress and it becomes a diamond. I said, exactly. You take something that's nasty, that's dirty like charcoal, okay, like coal, and you pressurize it and you put under heat and pressure and it becomes this special, unique thing, a diamond. A diamond is expensive. A diamond is rare, okay? But how did it become this beautiful thing? It went through the nasty, the ugly things. It went through the hardship. It went through the hard pressure. It went through the heat. Over time, forged through that, and it became something very unique. And so if you want to be something unique, if you want to be a strong man, you want to be a strong woman, you have to go through hardships. This is part of it. Okay? And these lies prevent you from going through hardships because the life that we live in is easy. And so everybody wants to protect you from the hardships because if you go through hardships, you become a sharp sword. And if you become a sharp sword, you become dangerous. Okay? And this is the last quote I'm going to leave you with, and I'm going to wrap it up. I posted this to my jiu-jitsu students the other day. And it said, the world needs more dangerous men with the righteous intent. Become physically dangerous. Weak men are the greatest liability of all. And so, dangerous men with the righteous intent. Dangerous men that are capable of doing good things. These guys are good. You cannot be good unless you're dangerous, unless you're capable. Okay? Weak men are liability. And this is what we have. We have more liability rather than assets in our life because we don't have enough strong men. And so you young men, guys, you have opportunity. Take advantage of it. You have youth. something that many people wish they had. Okay? And it all starts with the process of sharpening the sword, of becoming a strong sword, forging that steel into something strong, something that can cut. Okay? And so sharpen your sword, guys, so you can become better for yourself, for your family, for your community, and for your country. And I'll see you on the next episode of Sharpen Your Sword podcast. Thank you for all the support. Peace out.